America's very own WGN News at 4. New overnight, a man is charged with the stabbing deaths of a woman and his daughter on the northwest side.
A fence jumper made it much farther than the front door at the White House. We're going to tell you just how far.
And Jewel Osco warns customers of yet another data breach. What hackers got in a live report. Good morning, I'm Dan Ponce.
And I'm Lourdes Duarte. Thank you so much for joining us this morning here at 4 a.m. And Marcus Lashonk is back today.
Marcus Lashonk is back. It feels like he's been off since like June, so it'd be nice to have him back. So
he's back. Just in time for the cold weather.
Yeah, right. He brought this stuff. How about yesterday's high temperature, 83, but we dropped 20 degrees in 2 hours.
I felt it yesterday.
Between
like
4
this.
and 6, 20 degrees.
Dropped immediately.
There it was. I guess it was right around the time where most people got off work. Let's look at today. All right, we've already fallen. We can't get up at least today. Today, we're expecting to see temperatures which will stay stuck in those 60s throughout even the afternoon. Typical high temp this time of the year would actually be right around those upper 60s. So here we go. Right now, 46. That's it, Waukegan. Down to DeKalb, we're reading at 48 degrees. Morris, we're 55. And Kankakee, 55. Satellite radar composite shows we're dry. Some of us got the much-needed sprinkles yesterday, but certainly not much as that front moved through. It's a powerful front, but it didn't have much moisture. You can see the rain just kind of isolated to portions of northwest Ohio and extreme eastern Michigan. So here we go. 58 degrees will be your temperature by 5 p.m. 9 p.m. down to 54. Kind of a light breeze throughout the day with clouds on the breakup. Your high temperature 60. That's it. 50 tonight. Wednesday, a little bit of improvement. The high 71 degrees. And Thursday, we'll see a high temperature up to 75. And Aaron, it seems like the construction crews just kind of wait until this time of the year to get everything done. They're busy now, right?
Yeah, how'd you know that?
I'm headed for your job.
That's construction, I think.
Nonverbal
Just as safe this early in the morning.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we do have a little bit of work there. Let's start with this project. It's causing a lot of delays in the early morning hours. Southbound 294, that ramp to westbound Ogden, it's going to be closed through the 6th. Right now, it looks like everything's pretty light in terms of volume, but once we start getting a couple more cars out there on the road, it does get a little bit heavy through there. Also, just a little east of that project, we've got that railroad work. This is in the village of LaGrange. It goes all the way through the 3rd. It's going to close everything downtown. In fact, you can see right here, this is that shot we got from Skycam yesterday. That's that railroad crossing right through the middle of downtown, completely barricaded off. And that's going to be the story through the end of the week with some posted detours through there. They're going to continue working on those rail ties and replacing some of the tracks along that line. So watch for delays through there. Kind of factor that into your morning commute. That's the very latest. Back to you guys.
And new overnight, the search continues for a missing woman in Grace Lake. The call to police came in at around 9:15 last night about a 40-year-old woman who disappeared near the College Trail Retention Pond. Search dogs traced a scent to the edge of that pond, but searchers did not find any signs of anyone in that water.
Charges are filed against Maciej Kotlinski, who is accused of fatally stabbing his girlfriend, Anya Kosinka, and her 7-year-old daughter. The two were found Sunday in the Belmont Heights neighborhood. His other daughter was taken to north suburban Waukegan, and that's where police later found Kotlinski at his parents' house, where he apparently tried to kill himself. He is charged with 2 counts of murder. Friends say the couple had a rocky relationship and that he had a history of mental illness. He is due in court later today.
Chicago police warning Wrigleyville and Lakeview residents about a string of fires being set there. Cars, trash cans have been lit on fire in the alleys on the blocks you see right there on that map. Happened 3 times on the 3500 block of North Wilton and Sheffield. In June, the 800 block of West Buckingham also got hit 3 times. And then earlier this month, the most recent one happened on the 3300 block of North Clark, and that was actually last Friday. No arrests have been made.
And take a good look at the people in these pictures. Police say they stole several expensive watches from a store Saturday afternoon. They say the men took the watches out of a display cabinet while the women provided cover. The watches were taken from the Bentley Gold Coast store on Rush Street. All 4 suspects escaped in a silver minivan.
Well, for the second time in less than 2 months, Jewel Osco is under attack by hackers, putting your money at risk.
Tanya Francisco's live at the South Loop with the latest. Tanya.
Dan, Lourdes, the parent company of Jewel Osco, is still trying to determine exactly how widespread this data breach is. But for right now, customers from coast to coast need to be on the lookout for any suspicious activity on their credit card and bank statements. Now, this latest incident happened sometime between August 27th and September 21st. SuperValue, the parent company of Joel Osco, says the malicious software was installed on networks that process credit and debit card transactions that may have captured account numbers, credit card expiration dates, and the names of cardholders in more than a dozen states. But he believes the data was only taken from certain checkout lanes at 4 stores in Minnesota. Now, fraud experts say it may be time to stop using credit and debit cards for small transactions.
I think it comes to a point where the burden is shifted to the consumer, and the consumer has to be vigilant, has to go online and check their credit card statements, check their credit card and bank activity to make sure that there has been no suspicious activity, and do this almost on a daily basis.
Now, in a statement, the company says that it has made no determination that any cardholder data was stolen, but again, the investigation continues. As you mentioned, there was another data breach involving Joel Osco stores. That was back in late June and early July. The company says it took steps then to try to prevent this from happening again and protecting consumers, but as you see, it continues to happen. Joel Osco is just the latest on a string of major chain stores that are being attacked by these data hackers. I'm live in the South Loop. Tanya Francisco, WGN News.
Yep, it's happening more and more. Thank you, Tanya. So how did it happen? That's what the Secret Service will have to answer today. We now know that a man who jumped a fence got farther into the White House than we were first told. A lot farther, actually. He ran through the main floor, past the stairs leading to the president's residence before he was stopped in the East Room. And that's not all. He also got past one of the Secret Service officers inside. Omar Gonzalez hopped the White House fence, walked inside on September 19th. At first, they told us he was arrested just inside the front door. Now, that is not the case.
Why is it that they brag about, I say brag, but they tout the idea that there is tremendous restraint by these officers? I want to see overwhelming force repel anybody who's trying to get into the White House.
The Secret Service may also get questioned about a shooting in November of 2011. 7 bullets hit the White House back then. No one noticed until 4 days later. One bullet actually broke a window near the First Family's living room. The president's daughter, Sasha, and the First Lady's mother were inside.
The FAA will conduct a month-long review of its security at its facilities in the wake of Friday's fire at the Aurora Air Traffic Control Center. Thousands of flights were canceled and are still being canceled because the disabled center crippled traffic into and out of O'Hare and Midway airports. The man accused of setting the fire is Brian Howard of Naperville. The FAA contractor had been told he was being transferred to Hawaii. He made his first court appearance yesterday. His attorney says Howard tried to commit suicide and he needs treatment.
He made a tragic mistake in the course of trying to end his own life. Only somebody who is deeply troubled would do that.
Prosecutors say whatever Brian Howard's personal demons were, there was no justification for setting fire to a major air traffic control center. He is being held without bond, and if he's convicted, he could get 20 years in prison.
Friends of a Niles North High School student who was shot to death over the weekend held a vigil in his honor. They gathered last night on the street in Skokie where 17-year-old Maxwell Gaeta was killed while sitting in his car. He sent his mother a text message just before he died saying that he was headed home. A female classmate who was with him was also shot, seriously injured. Police are still looking for the shooter. They do not think it was a random act, though.
Some of us were with him earlier before it happened, and that was the last thing I expected. I was with him, we hung out, he was going to work, and then out of nowhere I get a call saying that Max is shot. He was a caring person. He was never about any hostility, none of that stuff. He was the most genuine person I've ever met.
Gaeta was a competitive swimmer who was also starting to look at colleges where he planned to study engineering.
A speeding police squad car was broadsided and it flipped over at Montrose and Ashland. Witnesses say the squad car had its lights and siren on and it paused at the intersection before entering yesterday afternoon. No word yet on charges against the other driver. The police officer is in stable condition. And we continue to follow developments in Hong Kong, where a number of schools, businesses, and banks are closed today as massive pro-democracy demonstrations continue. Tens of thousands of protesters are occupying key financial and government districts for a fourth day today. They want the Chinese government to reverse a decision to only allow, Beijing-approved candidates to run in Hong Kong's elections. They also want the leader of Hong Kong to step down. Protest organizers set a deadline, giving the government until tomorrow to meet their demands, or they say they will introduce a new civil disobedience plan. Tomorrow is a national holiday in China, and crowds are expected to be even bigger.
Also in international news, ISIS fighters may be able to withstand American-led airstrikes and seize control of a key city in Syria. The airstrikes intended to support Kurdish fighters in their effort to beat back the ISIS surge 2 miles from the city of Kobani. Witnesses say the air campaign just is not doing enough damage to the ISIS army to stop its advance. Capturing Kobani would give ISIS complete control of a swath of land from its declared capital of Raqqa to the Turkish border.
President Obama will give a speech at Northwestern University when he is in Chicago on Thursday to campaign for Governor Quinn. The president is expected to talk about the economy. He will arrive in Chicago on Wednesday night, but there's no word if he will stay at his home in Kenwood.
And Chelsea Clinton is home from the hospital with her brand new baby, very cute. Clinton was discharged 3 days ago after giving birth to Charlotte Clinton Misvinsky. She and her husband waited until the birth to find out the baby's gender. They left the hospital in New York yesterday to a crowd of well-wishers, lots of flashing cameras, joined by their, grandparents, Bill and Hillary Clinton, right there in the backseat.
Congratulations.
Very happy. Yeah, congrats.
Morning, Demetrius.
Oh, good morning. And yesterday, a big temperature drop. We saw temperatures in the low 80s during the early afternoon, but in time for dinner, we already dropped down into the 60s. A 20-degree drop in about 2 hours yesterday. Well, temperatures aren't going to rebound. Not today. Right now, we're 61 degrees. Pontiac, Peru, reading at 55. Much cooler elsewhere. Here in Chicago right now, actually 40 degrees, and Mundelein reading at 45 degrees. Satellite radar composite. We got the light rain yesterday. It was much needed rain, but don't expect more today. We're going to be dry. We'll see clouds on the breakup also. Your high only 60. Tomorrow we're up to 71 degrees. On Thursday we make 75, a 70% chance for showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures take a tumble again during the day on Friday. An early daytime high temperature of 64. That's your forecast. Dan and Lourdes, back to you.
Thanks, Demetrius.
Well, coming up, the family of George Zimmerman reveals how it tried to extend his 15 minutes of fame.
Plus, new charges for Arizona Cardinals running back Jonathan Dwyer in a domestic violence case.
And a shortage at a Rascal Flatts concert forced some desperate measures. We'll explain coming up. 4:15 this morning, and we have this just coming into our newsroom. The body of missing Arkansas realtor Beverly Carter has been found in the Little Rock area. Her body discovered in a shallow grave.
The suspect in her disappearance was arrested yesterday morning. Lewis is charged with kidnapping and was out on parole. The woman went to show a home on Thursday when she vanished. Police will not say what connected Carter to Lewis. We'll, of course, keep you updated on this story as more information comes in.
Other news today, an NFL player who was already facing misdemeanor assault charges is now indicted for a felony. Arizona Cardinals running back Jonathan Dwyer has been indicted for aggravated assault. He was previously facing 8 misdemeanor charges. All of them come from 2 incidents back in July. Prosecutors say Dwyer headbutted his wife in the face after she rejected his advances. They say he also punched her the following day. The Cardinals deactivated Dwyer shortly after he was arrested just 2 weeks ago.
A new interview reveals the family of George Zimmerman tried to cash in on his fame after his acquittal in the death of Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman's brother tells GQ magazine the family shopped around the idea of a reality show about Zimmerman and even suggested he become the commercial spokesman for a home security company. The magazine says Zimmerman and his wife moved to an island off the coast of Maryland before his arrest. His family became virtual nomads, moving from hotel to hotel in the Orlando area for fear of revenge attacks.
And Saturday night was a big one for Rascal Flatts fans in Richmond, Virginia. But what was even bigger was this: the lines to use the restroom. With only 16 porta potties on site for thousands of people drinking alcohol. Oh, not pretty. Yeah. Many were left to do their business in the nearest place possible. Some even jumped the fence into the nearby woods. Event officials admit the planning was pretty poor, promising a better job for the next time. Got it?
You know, back in college, we took more drastic measures, but we're not going to touch on that this morning here. You know.
Good morning. And it's better when you're a guy, you know?
Oh, it's a lot easier.
And then when the snow, well, folks, I'm forecasting snow in a couple months. Really.
Nice transition.
All right, hey, 51 degrees current temperature. How about yesterday? Yesterday's high temperature, 83 degrees, but we didn't enjoy that for long. Early afternoon, low 80s. Early evening, low 60s. Big temperature drop, and now a little bit breezy. Winds out of the north now, 14 miles per hour, so you may need to fish for the heavier coat, at least today. Then tomorrow we warm up once again. You're going to have to follow us this week. Up and down we go. 46 now Waukegan, 51 for Bartlett, 53 degrees down to Aurora, and 55 degrees in Kankakee. Satellite radar composite, and we're dry here. Yesterday we had that front move through. It was a strong front, but it didn't bring us much rain. Seeing some rain out in portions of, I'd say, eastern Michigan right down into portions of northwestern Ohio, so that's about it. Toledo, Ann Arbor, those areas. But as you look further out to the west, just kind of cloud cover up along I-70 and even I-80. Big old storm moving through the northern Rockies. We'll watch that one as it eventually creeps into our region. Not going to be until, we think, Thursday. So here's how things are going to look on our computer model. Generally dry conditions. Winds kind of coming in from the north throughout the day, so the cloud cover will be here early today. And then we'll watch the rain as it moves close to us. Wednesday night into Thursday, that chance for rain really spikes during the day on Thursday. And then Friday, we slowly begin to dry out for the weekend. Today's high, only 60. Typical high this year, this time of the year, almost 10 degrees warmer. Tomorrow we're back up to 71. We're dry for Wednesday. Thursday, 70% chance for rain. Your high reaches 75 degrees. More delays this morning, and Aaron McElroy has more.
All right, thanks, Demetrius. And you're right, man. It just kind of moved in and all of a sudden cooled down significantly. We'll see what that means for traffic this morning. Hopefully not a whole lot, but we do have delays right now on the CTA Blue Line. It looks like you're on that Forest Park bound train. They're having issues at UIC, Clinton, and LaSalle. So watch for delays along there. Hopefully that won't be cumulative and continue to build throughout the morning. But we are keeping an eye on it and seeing delays of 15 to 20 minutes behind schedule right now. Also, wanted to take you over to those Beesterfield entrance ramps. They remain blocked until 5 this morning. So it looks like volume's still light enough. It's not causing any big backups yet. But over the next half hour, we'll kind of keep tabs on that one, let you know how it looks until they reopen everything through there. All right, that's the very latest for traffic. We send it back to you, Lourdes and Dan.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Coming up in about 30 minutes, Marcus explains what's behind the video you see there. Kids putting Band-Aid controversy.
Yeah. All right. Hey, next in sports, major questions surrounding the Bulls as they get ready to hit the floor for the first time tonight.
Turned the page on baseball, but we have a lot to look forward to this winter. The Blackhawks are preseason Stanley Cup favorite, and the Bulls look like they're going to have every opportunity to be a contender, at least in the Eastern Conference, if not beyond. The team coming together for the first time Monday for the annual Media Day activities. A lot more pictures than jump shots taken at the brand new Advocate Center. Bulls have a lot of new blood this year, including Pau Gasol and Nikola Mirotic up front. But Derrick Rose is the engine, and he's good as new, though he knows he'll have to prove it to a lot of people.
I'm always going to have to answer this question for the rest of my career, so I'm not worried about that. So, but for the Bulls fans, I can sit here and say a million times that I'll be fine, but I think the only way to answer all the critics and everyone asking about me is to actually be on the court and actually playing.
Martellus Bennett was Jay Cutler's favorite target Sunday, but nobody liked this one. Bennett stopped short of the goal line as time ran out in the first half. Wasted opportunities like that, and a first and goal at the one that ended in a field goal, and 2 second-half interceptions by the Packers. Almost 500 yards of offense for the Bears and only 17 points, numbers that do not compute.
Well,
felt like we just so close, but we have a lot of positives, but we had a lot of negatives in the game. But I think we had 500 yards of offense, which, 500 yards of offense and 17 points really doesn't even go together, so it's like having dessert before dinner, which I like to do because it reminds me that I control my own life and not my parents.
And that's always a good thing. And that's Morning Sports. Dan Rowan, WGN News.
And in Monday Night Football, Chiefs fans broke the record for the loudest outdoor stadium at Arrowhead, reaching 142.2 decibels. That is 5 points higher than Seattle fans. Chiefs went on to totally dominate this game. They win 41-14. Tom Brady had a lousy game. We'll have more coming up the next hour. Lousy game.
We like to hear that.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so I'm not going to call this lousy, but 80s yesterday afternoon, 60s yesterday evening. Yeah, big temperature drop. 58 degrees is going to be your temperature at 2 p.m. This is a cool down, which you will feel. 58 also at 5 p.m. 9 p.m. we're back down to about 54. Aaron is wearing our favorite. Is this the one I called you a dish rag or a curtain? This dress? I called it a curtain the one time.
Aaron, I love the dress.
You see what I see over here, Lourdes? You see why I keep my distance?
I will punch the two of them.
Is it your TV moving? Yeah.
Get the Charlie Brown theme.
Let's just say everyone has a bad moment shopping, and this was mine right here.
No.
But I'm still wearing it because I'm cheap, and I'm not going to. Yeah. Okay. Let's leave it at that. Construction northbound 57. You will pay Ivory 127th over to 107th. They got that right lane blocked until 5, so you got a little bit to deal with it. I like the dress. Also, if you take a look at these Ogden ramps, they're remaining closed through the 6th of October. Right now, it doesn't seem to be causing a huge delay, but almost every morning for the last week, we've seen some backups there, starting about 6. For that, more traffic on your way just a little bit.
I like the dress, Aaron.
Thank you, Lourdes.
Aaron could wear a garbage bag and she'd look okay. Can we all agree on that? Come on.
True story. You're backpedaling now.
All right, guys. All right. Well, look, still more to come in our next half hour, including a case of vandalism against the Suburban Veterans Memorial.
Yeah, and a controversial ad campaign featuring beheaded journalist James Foley is drawing outcry in New York.
Plus, protests continue in Ferguson, Missouri, as the investigation into the police shooting there is now affecting other cases.
And why Walmart is blaming Tracy Morgan in the crash that landed him in the hospital. We'll be right back.
Breathe. You're watching Chicago's very own WGN News with Dan Ponce, Lourdes Duarte, Aaron McElroy with traffic, Demetrius Ivory with weather, and Marcus Lashon. This is WGN Morning News at 4.
Time to change that password again or your PIN. Jewel Osco warns customers of yet another data breach. What hackers got in a live report.
The latest on the war against ISIS as a town in Syria tries to hold the terrorists back.
And a fence jumper made it much, much farther than the front door of the White House. Details coming up.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Ponce.
And I'm Lourdes Duarte. Let's get a check of the weather on this, what is it, Tuesday?
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday, 4:30 a.m.
We should have told you it's Monday and just watched you sing.
Shows up to work Saturday morning already.
Already. All right, so it is Tuesday, and we're going to get this week started off. Well, we did get the week started off with warm fashion. Today, I don't know about it. Fall's back. It'll feel like fall. It'll look like fall. And you're probably going to need that fall jacket. 54 degrees right now, Kankakee. The issue is the temperatures will not really warm up much after that. How about early this morning, Libertyville reading at 46 degrees. Good morning to you there. Fox Lake, you're currently 46. And Crystal Lake reading at 47. Satellite and radar mixed in together show no rain. We saw some light showers yesterday. Certainly not much. I think about 1/100 of an inch measured at O'Hare Airport. Big temperature drop during the day, though. 58 degrees going to be your temperature by 5 p.m., 9 p.m. 54. 7-day forecast has issues. We'll be only up to 60 today, 71 on Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday, we're up to 75 degrees. We'll have about a 70% chance for rain there. Friday, temperatures fall during the day, and in time for the weekend, they don't get back up. Only 56, your high, with lows almost in the 30s on Saturday. Nothing but good news, Aaron, coming from me.
Yeah, right. Slippery slope downhill for you is what it was. We're going to give you an update on these blue line delays that we saw. What we're hearing right now is trains are basically sharing the track. North and southbound trains, they've got an obstruction. Something's on one side of those tracks. So that's forcing everyone to share one. And that's causing big delays between Racine and LaSalle. So you want to board on that Forest Park side. That's the only side that's going to be operating until they're able to clear whatever's blocking the track there. So that's impacting UIC, Clinton, and LaSalle. Watch for that this morning, but that's the latest update on that item. Also, if you had northbound 290 at Beesterfield, this entrance ramp closed. It looks like it's not causing any big issues right now, but about another half hour before they open this, so watch for backups through there. That's the latest for traffic. We're going to get you another update, including some travel times coming your way straight ahead.
For the second time in less than 2 months, Jewel Osco is under attack by hackers again, putting your money at risk.
Yeah, Tanya Francisco live in the South Loop with the latest. Tanya.
Lourdes and Dan, a local fraud expert, says he's not surprised that hackers have hit Jewel Osco again in such a short period of time. He says it is big business in Eastern Europe and Asia, making money by stealing it from American consumers. Now, in this latest data breach, SuperValue, the parent company of Jewel Osco and hundreds of other grocery stores across the country, says sometime between August 27th and September 21st, malicious software was installed on networks that process credit and debit card transactions. That malware may have captured account numbers, card expiration dates, and the name of card holders. Well, that follows another breach in late June and early July in which a different software was installed to steal customer data. Unfortunately, this is becoming a trend with hackers stealing information from millions of consumers at Home Depot, Target, and other stores in this past year.
Problems at almost every store I've gone to, Target twice, and now Jewel. Well, I didn't do it last month because I've been bringing cash with me because of that.
I am going to store just taking out a certain amount of money for certain things and stop swiping so much.
It looks like we're going to have to go back to that for the time being if we're going to keep having these breaches.
In a statement, the company says it has made no determination that any cardholder data was stolen. Right now, it believes data was only stolen from 4 stores in Minnesota where the company had not yet finished installing new security enhancements. Now, fraud experts say that people should start going back to using cash for smaller transactions because it limits your exposure. The less you use the card, the less opportunity that hackers have to steal your information. Using it for big items sometimes is just, you have to. There's just not another option. He says, we also have come to a point where we as consumers can no longer rely on credit card companies and banks to protect us. I'm live in the South Loop. Tanya Francisco, WGN News.
Tanya, thank you. Well, it turns out an intruder made it much farther into the White House than was originally reported. Officials say Omar Gonzalez only made it through the front door after he hopped the fence on September 19th. But now officials say he ran through the main floor, overpowered a Secret Service officer, and made it into the East Room. Neither the president nor his family were there at the time. The director of the Secret Service will testify about the breach today before House Committee. She's expected to address why dogs were not used and why an alarm box was muted.
4:34 this morning, ISIS fighters may be able to withstand American-led airstrikes and seize control of a key city in Syria. The airstrikes intended to support Kurdish fighters in their effort to beat back the ISIS surge 2 miles from the city of Kobani. But witnesses say the air campaign just is not enough damage to the ISIS army to stop its advance. Capturing Kobani would give ISIS complete control of a swath of land from its declared capital of Raqqa to the Turkish border. And a week after the police shooting of a terror suspect in Melbourne, Australia, the police are staging new anti-terror raids across that city. They say the sweep not connected to the shooting and not a response to a specific terror threat. At least 1 person has been arrested. Melbourne police won't give a lot of details until that entire sweep is done.
Some anti-Islam posters have started appearing on New York City buses and at its subway stations, but one controversial ad got pulled at the very last minute. It would have shown an image of American journalist James Foley taken moments before Islamist terrorists beheaded him. Foley's parents denounced the use of their son's image by the so-called American Freedom Defense Initiative, and it convinced the group's leader not to post it. And taking a look at the other top stories this morning, charges are filed against Maciej Kotlinski of Belmont Heights, who was accused of fatally stabbing his girlfriend, Anya Kozinska, and her 7-year-old daughter. His 5-year-old daughter was taken to north suburban Waukegan, and that's where police later found Kotlinski at his parents' house, where he apparently tried to kill himself. He is due in court later today.
And friends of a Niles North high school student who was shot to death over the weekend held a vigil in his honor. They gathered last night on the street in Skokie where 17-year-old Maxwell Gato was killed on Sunday while sitting in his car. A female classmate who was with him was shot, seriously injured. Police are still looking for the shooter. They do not think this was a random act.
The man charged with setting fire to the FAA Air Traffic Control Center in Aurora made his first court appearance. Brian Howard of Naperville reportedly set the fire moments before slashing his throat in a suicide attempt. Fire forced thousands of flight cancellations. Another 100 or so flights are already canceled for today. The FAA will review security protocols at all of its facilities.
And closing arguments may begin today in the Joliet murder trial of Joshua Minor. The prosecution arrested yesterday. Minor was the alleged ringleader in a scheme to lure two men to a Joliet apartment for robbery. Those men were strangled when they fought back.
Protests continue in Ferguson, Missouri. This crowd chanted in front of a line of Ferguson police officers last night. There were no signs of violence after 8 people were arrested Sunday night. More details are coming out about the shooting of a Ferguson police officer on Saturday. Police say a man was pointing a gun at the officer's chest. The gun went off after the officer pushed it away. The officer was hit in the arm. The suspect got away. Officials say this was not related to the protests against the shooting of Michael Brown. Well, the investigation of the Brown shooting is now affecting other cases involving Officer Darren Wilson. A grand jury is investigating whether Wilson committed a crime in that shooting. Local prosecutors are now putting 6 cases on hold where Wilson was the arresting officer or the lead investigator. A spokesperson says that's standard procedure in cases where the involved officer is not immediately available to testify. The Elgin Police Department has fired an officer for the remarks he made about the Ferguson case on Facebook. Officer Jason Lentz was put on leave in August. Lentz commented on Facebook that the officer who shot and killed Michael Brown did society a favor. Officials say Lentz made numerous online remarks that they found inappropriate. Lentz's attorney had said the Facebook posts are protected speech since they are on a private account.
Well, veterans are upset over vandalism to a Veterans Memorial this weekend in New Lenox. Crews started removing broken pieces yesterday to begin those repairs. Stone slabs honor each branch of the military. 2 were cracked. 3 were loose enough to have to be removed as well. Frustrated vets hope the bad guys are caught.
Very sad, very angry. Guys, lost their lives. Guys going around with lost limbs. Just sick from war, period. Mentally, it's terrible. It's terrible that someone would be so low as to do something like this.
Vets will rededicate the memorial once it's fixed, but all that takes some money, as you know. Donations can be sent to the VFW in New Lenox.
Reaching 102 years of age is an amazing feat, and it's twice as nice when you have a twin to do it with. Meet Ruby Harris and Ruth Cox. They were born in the year 1912. That's the year the Titanic sank. They graduated from nursing school together in 1933 before going on to start families. Well, those relatives threw the ladies a big birthday party, and in return, twins gave them some advice on how to live a long, happy life.
Behave yourselves. Stay away from the beer joints. Don't smoke.
Well, in case you missed it there, she said the secret to living a long life was staying away from beer and joints.
Yeah, and behave yourself. That was also
That's my breakfast every morning.
Come on, Dan.
That's our demo.
4:30 in the morning. You know what's going on.
Time for the beer and joints to work out here.
Sorry, folks. All right, here we go. 51 degrees, your current temperature. Winds out of the north now, about 14 miles per hour. It's breezy. It will be breezy. It's cooler than yesterday. It's going to stay cool also. Yesterday's high, low 80s. Today, forget about low 60s if we're lucky. Right now, we're 51 degrees in Portland. Down in Kankakee, we're 55 degrees, 54 for Lansing. Satellite radar composite shows we're dry. Don't expect to see any rain today. That rain's now limited to portions of northwest Ohio down into eastern Michigan. That's about it. Maybe a little bit into northeast Indiana. So today, the high temperature climbs to 60. Typical high this time of the year, much warmer, about almost 10 degrees warmer. It will be breezy early this morning. That breeze dies down. The clouds start to break up. It will be cool and quiet tonight. Down to 50 for an overnight low. Here's that 3-day forecast. Your high temperature on Wednesday, 71 degrees. That's a little bit warmer than normal. Thursday, a little bit warmer also, but look at that. Good chance for showers and thunderstorms. That rain will linger through through Thursday into early Friday, and we finally begin the drop for the weekend. Weekend forecast in a bit. Back to you.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Demetrius. Still ahead, the military stepping up efforts against Ebola.
Plus, we'll tell you about a new computer bug called shell shock that could expose you to hackers.
And Marcus is back. He made it, folks, from Orlando. Okay, he has a story about a couple who left a big tip for lousy service, why they did it when we come back. And we are all very, very excited about Blackhawks Day here at WGN, and we have a great Blackhawks Day giveaway. You could win one of two prizes, 2 tickets to the October home opener versus Buffalo, and an autographed sweater. Also 2 tickets to the second home game on October 15th versus Calgary, along with an autographed hockey stick. Very nice. Go to WGN-TV.com/contest to enter. We're going to pick 2 winners tomorrow morning.
Time now, 4:44. The U.S. military is speeding up its response to the Ebola outbreak. About half of the 3,000 troops being deployed to West Africa are going to Liberia. The general in charge of the mission says they'll be arriving quickly so they can build and supply 17 Ebola treatment centers. A patient at a hospital in Texas is in isolation for potential exposure to the Ebola virus. Officials say the patient had traveled where the virus is spreading, but they did not say where. The CDC anticipates preliminary results on Tuesday.
Stocks taking a dip on Monday. The Dow was down 42 points, NASDAQ down 6, S&P fell 5. Mayor Emanuel taking steps to get even more city workers a pay raise. He signed an executive order earlier this month requiring city contractors and subcontractors to increase the living wage paid to their employees to $13 an hour. He is now pressuring all agencies under his control to do the same, and if that happens, roughly 2,400 contract employees working as custodians, landscapers, and bus drivers would get a pay raise.
Apple has launched a security patch for the new bug shell shock. The new internet threat affects common software tools and was discovered hiding in many Unix-based systems last week, including OS X. OS X users were not exposed to the bug, only users who changed their advanced settings. A patch is available for Mavericks, Lion, and Mountain Lion. The patches has not made it into OS X's built-in software update tool yet, and is not available for OS X Yosemite just yet.
What is that?
There's only one person who knows what the hell I just read there.
I'm glad you read that and not me. My goodness. Just hit the update button, right? That's all you can do.
Hey, Marcus is back. He was stuck down in Orlando after all that garbage at the FAA. And just playing bench again.
We ended up driving home. Yeah, we ended up driving home because our flight was canceled on Friday. We didn't know if our flight on Saturday would be canceled. Did not want to stay with 2 kids in the airport till Monday, so we ended up driving home 18 hours from Disney.
Wow.
So, in fact, there's a gaping hole in all of our lives.
Well, I feel bad for all the people who it happened to when they were going down to their vacation, because you lose out on days. At least we were there and we got stuck there for a little bit, but we made them.
Yeah.
So, and I know it wasn't the same here without me. It was not. Without me, so we got back. Is everything good?
Dad was in tears every day.
I know, he's just,
I had to calm him down.
I miss him.
Hey, I don't know about you guys, but as soon as that cold front came in yesterday, Demetrius, did you feel that? I was thinking about my next vacation for sure. You can go anywhere here on Earth, but why not think bigger than that? We are getting closer to sending a manned spacecraft to Mars. You're looking at NASA's new Orion capsule. The space agency is also putting the finishing touches on the Delta IV heavy rockets that will propel this craft into orbit. It has the capacity to support 4 astronauts for 21 days of space travel. I guess that's how long it takes to get places. I don't know. Orion is scheduled to have its first test flight in December. I'm not sure about the amenities on board that thing. And speaking of updates, Microsoft set to unveil the first official look at the new Windows 9 today. Rumors indicate that users can be seeing the return of the Start menu and a new virtual desktop feature, among other addition. Earlier reports have said that the new software could be offered as a free upgrade for Windows 8 users. That's Windows 8 you're seeing on the screen there, not Windows 9, by the way. I should have said that earlier. My bad. Hey, a lot has been made about the size of Apple's iPhone 6 Plus and reports of the phone's bending in people's pockets, but that has led some people to visit Apple stores and attempt to bend display models, including 2 teenagers in the UK who had the comments on YouTube. There's been a backlash to this, thankfully. Most viewers wisely equating this to vandalism, not some kind of Robin Hood tech heroism. The teens have since apologized and offered to pay for the phones that they damaged. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's like going in a store and breaking all the stuff in the store. Don't do that. And finally, what would you do when you receive horrible service at a restaurant? Would you walk out, complain to management, leave zero to very little tip? Well, Stephen and Mackenzie Schultz found themselves in that situation recently at an Iowa restaurant where customers were waiting up to 20 minutes for water alone. Instead of whining about it, the couple left their server a $100 tip. The restaurant was understaffed. The server was running all over the place trying to make all the tables happy. The couple, they once waited tables themselves. They wanted to offer the server some encouragement, so they gave him $100. Nice. Wow. Their Facebook post about the situation has been shared more than 100,000 times.
Couple from Iowa, right?
Yeah.
Go Iowa.
Iowa, exactly. Very nice. That would never happen here. Never happen here.
All right, Marcus. Thank you, Sarah. Nice to have you back. Well, check this out. In light of Ben Gates that Mark was just talking about, you might want to invest in some eye pants.
Yeah.
Two entrepreneurs developed jeans with a hidden phone holster in the seam. The denim pocket is designed to be nearly invisible and convenient for you to pull out your phone. IO Denim also prevents bending since the bone sits on the side of your thigh.
Are you kidding?
How does it not fall out of there?
That's dumb.
He just needs a big apple on the butt, right? It'll perfect on the CTA. Did the CTA just reach over and grab somebody's phone right out of there?
Fail.
Easier.
Watch it blow up though. Those guys are billionaires in 2 weeks.
Catch up. All right, let's look at how things are going to be for us today. Early today, we have temperatures which will be in the mid-40s. That's it. McHenry, you're currently at 45 degrees. 47 Libertyville. Fox Lake reading at 46 degrees. 54 now for Wheeling. 52 at this hour in Chicago at Charles J. Saz Elementary School. Satellite radar composite shows we're dry. Expect to be dry today. No rain for us, but no warmth either, right? 58 degrees your temperature by 5 p.m. The high, the official high climbs to only about 60. Aaron.
All right, we're going to take a quick look at what's happening on the Jane Addams. Right now, we've got this ongoing construction. Starts westbound Kennedy, extends all the way to 294. That's not going to be picked up basically until late November. So right now, not seeing any delays because of it. 90 still looks good, but as we start to see more volume build in on the roads, we could see some pretty hefty backups through the area. Also want to give you an update on the Blue Line delays. Again, this is impacting trains between Racine and LaSalle. They're all sharing one track. They're trying to clear some debris off the other side. So that means that if you're trying to board that train, you want to get on the Forest Park bound side. That's the only one that's operating, and that's impacting UIC, Clinton, and LaSalle this morning. So that's the very latest of traffic. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Aaron. And coming up, she just can't get a break. Why Amanda Bynes was arrested in California. In the buzz this morning, Amanda Bynes arrested on DUI charges again. California Highway Patrol busted her early Sunday morning for driving under the influence of an unidentified drug. Bynes was cooperative, appeared disheveled though, and taken into custody. She was released on bail. She's already on probation for a 2012 DUI arrest.
Walmart is blaming Tracy Morgan for his injuries in a bus accident that killed his friend in response to a lawsuit. Morgan and his entourage were at fault because they failed to wear seatbelts as required by law. In July, a Walmart truck rammed into the back of Morgan's party bus, killing his friend. Morgan spent several weeks in rehab with rib and leg injuries. The lawsuit says Walmart should have known its truck driver had been awake for more than 24 hours.
And the new Mr. and Mrs. George Clooney made their union official Monday, and the ceremony only took about 14 minutes. Whoa, look at that. The newlyweds left Venice's City Hall, smiling, holding hands. Amal Al-Houdi wore many designer dresses for the weekend celebrations, including a custom-made Oscar de la Renta wedding gown. Clooney looked very dapper in a black Giorgio Armani tuxedo, cufflinks from Amal with George inscribed in Arabic. She is gorgeous.
Morning, Demetrius.
Well, good morning. Lauren is trying not to sound jealous. We don't believe you. All right, 60 degrees will be a high temperature today. Expect some sunshine today, later in the day, but it will down to 50 tonight. Tomorrow's high temperature, 71. Back to you.
Morning headlines.